All right. Hello, hello, hello. Think we're live. We're in action. Welcome to ICND2 study session number 3 as we are kicking things off. I'm slowly but surely evolving these study sessions in such a way that we now have a group thing that everybody can join. So I'm gonna put the slide back up for just 1 second because I had some technical issues going on when we were originally doing it. So if you haven't already, either on your smartphone, your tablet, another web browser window, head on over to ICND2.kitsum.com. I'm going to bring it back up. Get signed in there, and that way you can play along with us. You ready? Here we go. All right, good. So Jake, if you could do me a huge favor and just keep chatting as we do the session, just keep chatting that URL in there. So anybody that joins a little bit late can join up. It just makes it a lot more fun, I think, to have a game. Everybody votes instead of everybody just seeing the answer. So change of how we're doing it. Don't chat the answer in when you see the question. Join the game. ICND2.kitsum.com. And vote on there, and we'll see. It tracks the score, and by the time it's said and done, we'll see who wins. It just, I don't know. It always makes it more fun to me when it's a little competition. So that being said, welcome to the study session. I will make up the time that we just spent trying to get everything oriented. As organized as live streams can get. I'm telling you, there's a lot of puzzle pieces to put in place. So, brief announcement before we go any further. Literally, my last 2 days, not many of you may know this, but at CBT Nuggets, we actually do a peer review process for every video that we create, and in the CCNA series that we just finished, where literally, so say I record a video, I will sit across the table from another instructor, and we will literally watch the video together, and we'll offer each other feedback for, I think it's a total of 40 hours of training that I've gone through so far, where I'm literally watching my own stuff, watching Keith Barker's stuff, watching Chuck Keith, which many of you know is Network Chuck, watching his stuff, and we're literally just being like, what do you think? How did you, and so we're done. We just finished that process where and obviously I'm sitting there watching Keith Barker for and you're like, it's great. And it's just one right after another. So it's gonna be a fun series by the time it's said and done. So CCNA 2020, it's off to the press, and now CBT Nuggets does their magic, and you probably will see it soon. I don't have a date. No one does. So that being said, let's get into the quiz. So I am on the CBT Nuggets website. This is our certification training page, which is actually expanding bit by bit. A new section that they added for people that are just going down certification tracks. You can find everything about everything here, which is pretty cool. So if you have a subscription, you can go over to tools, practice exams, and bada bing. That'll drop us right into where we left off last time. And I thought, just to get the blood warming, and I know not everybody in this session was here with us last time, so let's start off with the softball, because it always starts on the last one, and do this one together. So you know that router 2 is configured for RIP Which Cisco iOS command is used to view the current state of all active routing protocols? Go ahead and give that a go. All right, good. Link certificate. Don't go HTTPS. Just HTTP. I'm going old school on this. I'm trying to come up with a URL that doesn't change every single time we do it. So that's why I'm just doing ICND2. So HTTP ICND2, not HTTPS, and that should get you there. So answer on this one, which will show the state of all active routing protocols. For shame, no HTTPS. Show IP protocols. And this will actually show you every single routing protocol that is running on your device whatsoever. So that one will get us going. And that's where we left off in the last session. So let's get to the next question. I'm actually, so a couple of these questions I'm going to skip. I'm going to skip this one because this is not one we can vote on. It's a little more complex, drag and drop. I'm just going to take us straight over to question 16. Here we go. Given the following output, which statement can be determined to be true? Choose 3. All right, answer on this one is a little bit more difficult. I didn't see as many people jump in on this one as I thought there would be. So let's before we just answer this one, let me just do a quick discussion because I forgot to open my my Epic pen. Let me get my pen going because this can be a foreign concept to most people. So with OSPF has a feature, which is what this question is keying in on, called the DR. This is what we're talking about, and BDR. And this is what I want to do a lot of as we're talking through these, is give you the why behind this, because otherwise there's no point in having me here. I have no purpose. So let's just say we've got a network of 5 routers, right? And they're all going to all kinds of different sites. Maybe this is a corporate office. Maybe it's a service provider. We don't know. So let's just say this is the 10.1.1 network, right, that they're connected to. Well, with OSPF, what will happen is all of these guys will start forming neighbor relationships, right? Then they'll communicate and say, hey, I'm gonna. So it could end up in a big old mesh of neighbor relationships that happen, and that's not so much the problem. The problem comes in when you have some kind of network change. Like let's say the network goes down over here, and this guy sends a report. Well, OSPF's default nature is, hey, tell everybody. So he's like, hey, everybody, network down, network down, network down, network down. And they're like, okay, I'm going to tell my neighbors, network down, network down, network down. It just starts this like fireworks explosion of updates. So the people who created OSPF back in 1984, there's your random fact of the day, they said, we can't have that. Let's create something known as the designated router and the backup designated router. And then whenever we have some kind of network failure, let's just say this goes down, I will notify the designated router and the backup designated router, and they will be the central point of contact. This is where management came into the picture, right? And they're like, okay, central point of contact is a good thing. We will then communicate to the DR, the BDR. They will be the ones that then tell all the other people so that we don't have this fireworks explosion of updates, right? So in this case, that's exactly what happens. Now let's get back to this. What can be determined to be true? Okay, so it says the DR for the serial subnet is 192.168.85.1. Now I'm gonna first off be like, burnt, because you see right here there is no DR and BDR when you have a point-to-point link, because there's no point, no pun intended, because you only have 2 neighbors. You don't have to worry about the fireworks explosion. So that one's not right. So the router is the DR for the subnet 10.1.0.0. Okay, well, I don't see any evidence of that whatsoever. Okay, here we go. 10.1. So we've got 10.1.0.5. Okay, well, no, I'm seeing in this case, we've got this neighbor. So this is the neighbor table, right? So this is the perspective of A2, and I'm seeing this neighbor, this neighbor, this neighbor, this neighbor, this neighbor, this. So these are all the neighbors. So from my perspective on fast Ethernet 0/0, there is someone, I have a neighbor that is the BDR, which has the neighbor ID 192.168.4.2. So let me read this again now. This router, meaning router A2, is the DR for the subnet 10.1.0.0. Could be, but I'm not gonna answer that one yet. I'm not confident enough in that answer, because there could be another router that's the DR for that subnet. But it could be. Okay, so the DR for the network connected to fast Ethernet 0/1 has the router ID of 10.5.5.2. Has the router ID. Okay, so this is the address. This is the IP address that I'm communicating with them on. This is the router ID, the neighbor ID. So I'm going to say no on this because 10.5.5.2 is the DR, but his router ID is this, right? So I'm going to mark that one off. All right. The DR for the network connected to fast Ethernet 0/0 has an interface priority greater than 2. That one could be interesting. So fast Ethernet 0/0, that's this guy right here. It says right now the BDR, the backup designated router, has a priority of 2. So I would say to beat that, you would need to have a priority greater than 2, right? And by the way, every router by default has a priority of 1. Every OSPF router by default. So by somebody coming in and tweaking this to a 2, that's one of the reasons why this became a BDR. Now, guys, so much stuff I want to tell you just on this one little side. This is a simple question, such heavy concepts behind it. So just so you know, every single time. Let's just draw this. So we've got router A2, right? This is the one that we're looking at right here. He has fast Ethernet 0/0. There will be a DR and a BDR, if you have enough routers, for this network. Now he also has a fast Ethernet 1/0, right? And there will be a DR and a BDR for this network. So I want to make sure everybody catches, because this throws so many people on OSPF when they first learn it. They're like, okay, there's like one. It's like the spanning tree root is how people see it. There's one root bridge to rule them out. That's not the case here. You'll have, this guy. Let's say this is A3. He could be the DR of this, and this guy could be the BDR of this. Whereas down here, he's the DR of this one, and maybe some other router down here is the BDR of this. I mean, you could, and this guy's a nothing. He's a DR other, or a non-participating, right? So it's not just like one DR to rule them all. So every single one of these broadcast interfaces, no serial interfaces, but broadcast interfaces right here, could have a DR and BDR, right? Okay, so back down here. This router is neither the DR nor the BDR of the fast Ethernet 0/1 subnet. Okay, so let's look. We've got FA 0/1, and I would say that is accurate because we're looking at his neighbors. Let me just erase some of this stuff. We're looking at his neighbors, and I'm seeing on this interface, fast Ethernet 0/1, this neighbor is the DR, and this neighbor is the BDR, right? So that means, from my perspective, router A2, I can't be the DR and BDR because there already is a DR and BDR on that interface. Making sense? So much stuff to talk about here. All right. Router A2 is connected to more than one multi-access network. And I would say absolutely yes on that one, because that's one. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I would gander on this one. This, and this are the correct answers. Let's find out. Bada bing. There we go. Good. So I'm not gonna. Obviously, the poll results at the end will show us what we're at. But that's a tough question. It's small, but tough. There's so many concepts that have to come together to get that one. So hopefully you got that. So Frame Geek, do we get partial points for getting one or more of the options? I don't know. That'd be a good question. We'll find out. I don't know if we'll have to see if your score increments as we go. We'll see. But I will say, inquiring minds want to know. Let's talk about the real exam. Cisco has said, outside of public channels, there are partial points given if you miss one on a multiple correct things, but not the others. But that's not published in any kind of official literature. So I'm going to put that into the bucket of, we'll just say rumor mill, right? Okay. Next question. Let's go on. Next question. We are on question 17. When a router has been configured with a loopback address, which of the following determines the OSPF router ID? Good. All right, time is up. So we actually sort of talked about this one in the last session. When a router's been configured with a loopback, and I like the comment, this one hurts my brain much less more. Yes, me too. When a router's been configured with a loopback address, which of the following determines the OSPF router ID? Highest MAC address assigned to the physical interface. Let me do this. No, MAC address actually has nothing to do with this. Lowest IP address, nope, assigned to the physical. Highest IP address assigned to a loopback interface. Bada bing, it's got to be C. Now I will mention, let's just say you've got a router. Let's just say this is 192.168.1.1. This interface, physical interface, is, let's just say 200.1.1.1. And you don't have a loopback interface, then it's the highest IP address assigned to a physical interface, so this guy wins. But the minute you create a loopback interface and say, hey, the IP address is going to be 1.1.1.1, I'll just give it a really low one, that becomes the router ID. Highest loopback interface always beats the physical interface is good, and we are correct. Answer C. Good. All right. Before we go on, I was just scanning some of the questions. Network Noob, it said, I'm looking forward to the new CCNA training. Wait a sec. You've asked more. Hang on. Let me scroll back up. He said, can I start studying for the new CCNA? That way I have more time. So let me actually flip back to the video. I will say, if you have not started studying for the old CCNA at this point, go for the new one. I don't want to say it's too late, because I've seen somebody do this in a month, and they've been able to pull it off. But that's hard. It would be really hard going from nothing to CCNA in, what would that be, like just under 2 months? Or no, actually just over 2 months. I mean, you could do it. It would be really hard. And I would say, if you want to keep your sanity, start studying for the new CCNA. And you can study the existing material right now. A lot of it, we re-recorded the entire CCNA series in CBT Nuggets, but a lot of the same OSI model, still the OSI model. IP addressing, still IP addressing. You can start with that stuff, which stays the same. Good. So let's dive into next question. Wait a sec. I'm skipping the ones that have like tons of output, because I can't keep, it doesn't all fit on one screen, so it's impossible to do. So let's go to question 19. Here we go. You have executed the following commands on switch A. Woo, a little 802.1x. Following commands. What is the result of the given command? All right. We are back in action. So first off, I want to go through the concept of this one. I know a lot of people were chatting. And by the way, if you haven't joined the game, ICND2.kitsim.com. If somebody could chat that into the chat so that people can just click it. Feel free to jump in. I know we've got a lot of people that are in here since we started the stream that weren't here at the beginning, and it's just fun to participate that way. Thank you. Thank you, Jake. So 802.1x is what we're talking about. This is super powerful feature. And I know a lot of people are probably like, what's that? Welcome to ICND2 stuff, right? Super powerful feature that allows you to use authentication server for people to access the network. So this became huge in the world of wireless because pre-shared keys only works in home environments because you've got people joining the wireless network. You're like, the key is 1, like whatever. You give them the key, right? In a business, that's great until somebody gets fired or somebody compromises. Then you got to change it for everybody in the organization. Come to the rescue 802.1x, which says you have to authenticate to the network before you're able to gain network access. And it does that through, let's get back here, a radius server. So this actually does 802.1x configuration for a switch environment. So first off, this is a global command that turns on 802.1x. Think of this like your light switch. It's like flip, you just turned it on, right? This turns on AAA. Before you do this command, pretty much the only level of security that you have is the passwords that you put on enable secret and VTY lines and things like that. So this opens the door. It's another power switch. Opens door to AAA, authentication, authorization, and accounting. Which, by the way, that immediately kills that one because as soon as you type in AAA new model, it's enabled. By the way, this is a fun command because when you do it, it goes away. Like you type AAA question mark and the new model command is gone and a whole bunch of new commands that weren't there are now in there. Okay, so then from there, what we do is we go and configure our radius server. So this most likely is either an Active Directory domain controller that has all of our user database, all the, Jake, and his password is son, right? And so that's his username and password, and that's stored on here, which would be the radius server, or it could be a Linux box, right? And then from here we say, okay, I'm going to create this is called an authentication method. So we're saying for .1x, which is 802.1x authentication, by default, the default method is to use the server group radius. And by the way, you can have a whole bunch of servers if you want to make a list of servers that you have right here. This is what tells it for 802.1x authentication. When Jake's computer plugs into this network and says, "I want network access," don't give them network access. Come back and be like, you must authenticate to the Active Directory server. What is, and boom, that's where it pops up on there. What is your username? What is your password? And Jake types in Jake and son. And the switch, in this case, this isn't wireless, will send that to the radius server, which is the domain controller. And that's what either says he's allowed, that's the right password, or it's not. Now from here, by the way, this is what turns it on for all of these interfaces. So it says, okay, these are access ports. This is VLAN side of things. And we're going to say the port control is auto, which enables those is valid. So let's look at this. Only the listed radius server is used for authentication. I would say, yeah, that's true. 802.1x is enabled on Fast Ethernet 0/1 only. I would say no, it's actually 1 through 11, so no. And the key for the radius server is first key 11. Yeah, all good, right? Is this good? Everybody follow it? So I'm thinking, let's go back here and get my real clicker. A and C is right, and bada bing, we're good. Good. How do you feel about that? 802.1x is a foreign concept for many. So I just want to grab any passwords that or pass. So type in your password into the chat. I want to grab any questions that you guys had while we were having that discussion. Okay, so new CCNA book. Yes, new CCNA book is out. Actually, Wendell Odom's book, which is always great. He kind of, I love Wendell, but he kind of went off the deep end on this CCNA. He split it into 2 volumes, CCNA Volume 1 and Volume 2. But he's chatty in this one because I don't know what that's like. Okay, what are you? Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go for the old one. Error clear text not permitted. Okay, something's broken. It sounds like the URL. Yep, Jake's password. Any questions on this one? Because go and talk right. Okay, I'm thinking CCNA. Okay, good. Okay, I just wanted to see if you guys had any questions on 802.1x. Gaz, I'm not too sure. All the new CCNA content is recorded. It's done. Release date is not being released because there's so much stuff that we're prepping up for, and we want to make sure people aren't confused. You know, people that are studying for the old one. There's just a lot of dots to connect before we release it. So, and by the way, I figured out why my camera's shaking. It's because I'm shaking my table. All right. Next question. Going down here. Next. Question 20. You are configuring a PPP connection between two routers, router 1 and router 2. Oh my gosh. This will be the last question. The password for the connection is it's poppycock. When you are finished, I don't know why that tickled me. Execute the show run command on router 1 to verify the configuration. Which of the following examples of a show run represents the correct configuration? All right, give it a go. Right, good. So this is tough, but one of the things I like about the quiz style that we're doing is it kind of adds an element of like I've got time, which is exactly what you end up with in the actual exam. My daughter's actually, if you're like, oh, what's happening? My daughter's flipping through the slides or the questions because we're out of time. But did it work? Did we? Oh, all right, awesome. So we'll have to. I'll see if I can pull that up at the end. Okay, so we have the winner of the session. But let's get back to this. So this is tough. So first off, I want to make sure you guys know with a PPP connection and when you're talking CHAP, this is a distractor. This enable password Griswold thing. Like, that does not matter in any way, shape, or form. That's just something that's like, okay, by the way, we're throwing that in there to distract you, okay? So first off, I don't know why I just laughed as soon as I saw that password. The password with a CHAP connection, first thing to catch, with CHAP, Challenge Handshake Authentication Protocol, has to be the same on here. So first off, this one burnt because they spelled poppycock wrong. So that's out. Griswold right here, because it said the password would be poppycock, and that has to be the same on both of those. So immediately those two are out. Okay, so let's look at these two. So we are on. So it says you execute the show run from router 1. So hostname router 1. Okay, down here hostname router 1. We're good. We're good. Okay, so then it says from here username router 2 password poppycock. Now, you better believe that over on router 2, they would have the configuration that has hostname router 1 password. I'll just put PC poppycock. It has to be exactly the same. In this case, they created a username for their very own router. And by the way, this is kind of the strategy sometimes that you should use on these questions if you're in the certification exam. We're talking tech, but giving you some exam strategies. Is go after, like when it's like so much config, don't try and analyze what's the detail of everything. Just start going. Like, first thing I saw poppycock, and I went down. I'm like, okay, what's not poppycock? No, oh, spelled wrong. Oh, Griswold. Bam. 50% of the answers are eliminated within 15 seconds of me reading the question. So look for what's wrong. What's wrong with this picture? Like, go with that highlights magazine for kid, right? Monkey holding a toothbrush. They don't hold toothbrushes. So look at this and make sure that you got that. So just by doing that, I don't even have to go further. I can go bing, answer A should be, I think, the right answer. Let's click on A, check answer. And I just scrolled right down. We are correct. That is the correct configuration of that. Good. So let's do this. First off, Isabella, my lovely daughter sitting over there. Who is the number one winner? Oh, Paulina again. Paulina, congratulations! 386 points is Paulina. Who is second place? I couldn't see it. Panda One Express. Panda One Express is second place. Third place, Mr. Kairos, congratulations. And fourth place is HK John. And I saw HK, he's like, I'm fourth place. Nice job. So Polina, it sounds like you are well on your way to going after the CCNA. That's great. So you get a second wooden spoon. I think that's what you won last time. I need an image of a wooden spoon that I put up here. So do this. I've got 3 minutes left. I'm gonna scroll through the last little chat. If you have any questions whatsoever, Jedi, I think I won the wooden spoon. So let me scroll back up and just see if there's any questions. Don't know why I knew the answer. I haven't studied WAN yet, but I've heard of this before. Yeah. By the way, CHAP configuration is probably on the new CCNA. Probably won't see it. PPP configurations, serial connections, all that stuff is fading away. It's still in use all over the world, but it's no longer a mainstream network technology. So new exam won't have that. Let's see. Get ready for virtual hugs. Another wooden spoon. Nicely done. Prove the OSPF knowledge is weak. So yeah, please. OSPF. And I'm wondering, maybe after the next session. So today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. I just thought of something. I'm wondering if we should do a quick flyby on OSPF, kind of like we did for Spanning Tree. That might be fun. And I say flyby, I'm like, oh my gosh, what will I even talk about with OSPF? Because there's so much to do there. All right, so that being said, Network Noob, is network automation the same as the result of network programmability? The funny thing is, so I'm just going to give you the flyby, Network Noob, on automation. The funny thing is automation has always been there. Like, I've been doing network automation for probably the last decade. Python has always been there. It's been around for a long time. It's just now becoming very mainstream because of, and this is the tie-in, because of the public cloud. A lot of the public cloud vendors have started creating stuff that automates the ability to run Python scripts or run things and configure a bunch of stuff all at once. And by the way, that's when you're talking about software-defined networking at a really high level, that's all it is just scripts to configure devices instead of us configuring devices. It's just now becoming so popular, it's a thing. I don't know if any of you saw my Twitter comment a little bit ago. I saw another person who was like, oh, AWS means network engineering isn't going to happen anymore. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Everybody's like, oh, network engineers, that's a fading technology. No, it's not. It's not even in the same boat as AWS. Like, I can see where people are starting to be like, oh, things are automated with AWS, but in no way is network engineering at all going away. I would say any level, it's going to become stronger in terms of the concepts, the technology. It's just, we might do it a little bit different, but it's not going away. So anyway, I know that was more than what you asked for, Network Noob. OSPF is very well explained. Yes, thank you. Polina, the more I thought about it, everybody's like, OSPF, yes. I'm like, oh, there's just so much to it. So maybe is my daughter a CCNA? Are you a CCNA yet, Isabella? No, she's shaking her head. No, she's 12, but she's running the quiz behind the scenes. But if she watches enough of these little sessions, she may very well be a CCNA. So heard of it too many times. Yes. Okay. What's Twitter? What's the Twitter? I work in an MSP. 90% of the order we get, is network work. And by the way, I own an MSP. That's what I do. I have a company called VIA, VEEYA. 30, actually, as of Friday, 33 employees. We just hired 2 more people. And that, obviously, I work there, but that is the mainstead of what we do is network deployments. I mean, everybody needs it. So that's why I'm just like, anyway. So that being said, all right. So we are done. We have reached the end of study session 3. As always, you can get to these. I think they're archived on Twitch. I'll also grab them down. I think what I'm going to do, one of the things I noticed is the early sessions got watched by a lot of people, but I think the later sessions, people are like, I don't want to watch it all. So what I'm going to start doing is actually breaking the questions apart into their own little YouTube videos. Because people, when they see a 5-minute one, that's like, oh, it's so much faster than, it's like, 5-minute abs instead of 20-minute abs. So anyway, That being said, thanks for coming. Good to talk to you again. This is getting more fun the more that we do it. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. All right.